Hi poopsies, welcome back. It's another ASMR video. It's me, Tony Bomboni. This is going to be a soft-spoken, strictly video, kind of serious-minded, business, professional kind of topic here. For those of you wanting to think about your future, investing long-term in yourself, here's the video for you. It will take dedication on your part. It will take a lot of work. It will take so much proof until you get approved at least. But after you get approved for the purchase of your home, it's gonna be constantly like this. Some of the bills I'll mention are short-term, but it's still something you need to think about before purchasing a home. So yes, as you read in the title, this is about how to be eligible to buy a house and maintain it, I should say. So I came up with 3 pages stock full of notes here about eligibility, such as requirements before being approved for the mortgage loan, and a bunch of things you need to keep in mind. Sorry if I'm overwhelmed. It's just like I just went over this over and over again and wrote down as much as I could possibly think of. Please let me know in the comments if there's anything I missed. I'm sure I did, because there are so many different circumstances for so many different people who want to be homeowners. So if you already have owned a home, this is also the video for you, because it's maybe something you didn't realize, or maybe let's say someone lost a home and they didn't realize the mistake they made and now they do after viewing this video. Or some of you who want to own a second home, or some of you who this is your first purchase, or some of you who already own a home but want to know how to maintain it. This is the video for you. So maybe you want to know on someone's behalf, like how people do it all the time, millions of times a year, I think, literally. So I'm just going to go off my bullet points and get right into it, because this is going to be kind of a long one. So first thing that the lender looks for in your home purchase is the amount of income you make and the amount in your bank account saved, and your bank statements history as well. So I'm just gonna list the first thing and then go into massive detail of each bullet point. So let's say you want a $250,000 home, $250,000, okay? Typically for that amount you would need almost $60,000 in income annually, okay? And I mean net, like clean, not gross, okay? Gross is how much you make usually before taxes, or sometimes also considered the part you make the business, like if you're self-employed. So there's a ton to this. Like I was going to go into the whole thing about co-buying, co-signing, but I will soon. I promise. I wrote everything down. They will look at that first and foremost, obviously. I mean, if there's no money, like you won't get approved, so why will they bother trying to get you approved? You know, like that's the most first basic ask question is how much money you make, okay? And I know this may be an uncomfortable topic for some people to just go and try to apply and, you know, bring up finances, but it's strictly business, and most banks don't really have emotion or care if you didn't meet certain requirements. So that's why they bring that up first, okay? They will look at your bank accounts. You will need to print bank statements. They will need to check how much you will have saved for closing costs, And that usually comes at the very end, but I do want to bring it up first thing and for you to keep in mind, because you will need, most likely, let's say for $250,000, you will need at least $10,000 to give just for a down payment alone and closing costs and taxes, you know, and to pay the realtor and whatever. That all goes with it. You don't see that. And usually, I believe the first month's mortgage goes in that as well. Sometimes that depends, and that's with a simple, I think, FHA. If you go with a conventional loan, I think, or maybe it's vice versa. I might be switching the two around, and I'll bring them up later because I don't know too much about it. But it would be more. You typically need like $20,000 for closing, realistically speaking. But the very, very least for, let's say, $250,000, it would be about 10, 12,000. Realistically, it'd be more around 12. And that's going with like the simplest loan. Like I said, if you go with the other one, which I'll go into later, then it's more. But anyway, for a house, you definitely want to hit high. You want to go in the 20,000 range. Now let's say you're buying a home for $150,000, which is the average cost of a home in America, I think. And your average income, which in America would be around $35,000, $40,000 a year, gross. I would say it's still good to aim high, but then aim, let's say, $15,000, just in case you don't want one of the loan types. You want just, I think it's called conventional. It's FHA, I think, is the easier one to get, but anyway, I'll go into it later. So between 10 and 20, so I'd say 15 is a good starting point. So if you can save $15,000 after taxes, if you're self-employed, meaning you will owe taxes, like if you're self-employed, you almost never get a refund. I certainly don't. So when that is all said and done, then you want to make sure it's also that much saved. Let's say you're aiming for 15,000 US dollars. That amount is in your account after all your bills are paid as well. So if you have like this is the mistake that I almost made, like when purchasing a home. Let's give an example. So you're aiming for 15,000 down payment for closing costs, right? And you have $3,000 in monthly expenses. So that's 18 you need to have right there. Plus you owe 5,000 in taxes. So that's $23,000 you need to have total, not counting emergency expenses or extra savings you have to have aside after you buy the home. Why am I whispering? Sorry, I wanted to make this like serious. Listen to me. Don't fall asleep, but try to maybe anyway, whatever, if you want to listen. But so let's say 25. So average, it's always wise to have around $25,000 before you, let's say, pay your taxes, before you pay your bills, and before closing day. So in many, many cases, closing will be delayed if you don't send all your documents on time. So plan 6 to 9 months ahead to have that amount continuously in your account. Okay? You have to have that amount. Heck, I'd even go for a year. So you will know when you're prepared to buy a home probably a year approximately in advance. Sometimes it comes unexpected. Sometimes maybe you will have a kid and you won't expect them to come on this earth, and you will just want more space and you will want a better life for them. So you're like, I'm ready, let me buy a home, let's do this. So I'll also go over emergency expenses along with children as well later on. But you will need to plan ahead and prepare to print and waste a lot of ink and paper. Like, you will need to scan a lot of documents, email a lot. There'll be a lot of back and forth with the loan officer. There'll be a lot of back and forth with the banks and the mortgage lender. So you need to be prepared. Now, if you are buying the house in full, if you are just very, very, very fortunate in the top 0.1% of the world who have $250,000 lying around, then go ahead. You won't need to go through all this stuff. You just pay it off in full. You may still need to go through the purchase of, the home, title, the deed, whatever it's called. There's so much information involved that I don't know how long this video will be, but anyway. So then is going to be the easy part. They don't need to check you for approval. They might check you just for you to pay the taxes, but that's about it. Like, they won't need to actually physically give you the loan. You will have paid in full, which I don't know anyone on this earth who does that. I mean, billionaires live in modest homes, and I doubt they even pay those homes off. Maybe they do, but if you're smart, you don't. A home is never worth it if you think about it, like a car or anything really on this earth, a phone, even your headphones, because if they break, you buy. Unless you have insurance, obviously, but it's not worth it. It's just not worth it to pay anything in full like a car. Oh, big mistake. Anyway, they go down in value usually, that's why. The next thing they need to look for is the last 2 months of income. They will definitely ask you for proof of that. They also guesstimate your income based off of that, and they need recent income for definite approval. Otherwise, if you just are in like September and you only show April, May, they're going to be like, well, where's your job June, July, and August? How are you going to pay this house? You asking for $200,000? You are going to go foreclose so fast if you don't pay up. Like, they can't put the trust in you. Like, before, they might have, like, 10 plus years ago, and I'll go into that later again. But nowadays, it ain't that easy, honey, so stay tuned. Keep listening. So last 2 months, they're going to ask for the last 2 years of rental history. If you have owned or rented in the last 2 years, they will look into your credit report history of all the payments you've made at exact days and times, and bank transactions, and even history with other people that have rented from you or you rented to, I can imagine. They will even look at, it was on the tip of my tongue, 2 years rental history. Oh, I almost forgot this. I was going to write it down, but now it just slipped my mind. I said something about 2-year rental history, and I totally forgot. It's just so much, you guys. If you made payments on time, why was this payment delayed? Oh, they're even going to look at the banks. Wow. Before closing happens, like in the last month, they're going to check every single transaction you make in your bank account, and they're going to ask, why was this $5,000 deposited from Jeffrey Hill? What is this $2,000 from Diana Ross? Okay. They're going to be questioning pretty much every transaction over $1,000, okay? So if you want family to sneak in money in your bank account last minute as a gift for helping with the down payment of the house, or, a decent friend who wants to congratulate you and give you a $100 gift card for your first purchase, then you have to tell them to give you around $500 or less in money at a time. Like, if they want to surprise you and give you $3,000, give it to me in 6 installments of $500, so the bank doesn't ding 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 alarm. I didn't realize that was even a thing until buying this home. I was like, what? They check how much you're depositing? It's crazy. I know. Because all of a sudden, if you don't have a job and you're doing something shady to get money to pay the house, like, they look at that too, so they want to know everything, honey, okay? Like, even when, after showing proof of getting my regular checks, they were still asking about my job checks, like, where did you get this X amount of money? And I was like, that's my work. Like, I'm self-employed. Like, didn't I just send you a proof? Like, they're gonna ask everything over $1,000, most likely. They won't tell you how much. Like, if you're buying a $10 million home, $1,000 ain't nothing, honey. They might ask any transaction over 20K. Okay, 20,000. So 20 G's. But yeah, there's a whole algorithm, a whole calculation they go into before 250K. Yeah, they're gonna question everything between $500 plus. So it's different for every bank, but let's do your rental history. Background check, okay? And this comes after they approve you for the money, okay? So now they're gonna look into criminal history, your record, traffic violations, whatever. They're gonna see all of that in your background report. And they're also going to see employment verification in your report, and Social Security is valid, that you are a U.S. citizen. I'm talking strictly people in America, okay? I don't know the laws and rules of this whole video in Sweden. Like, I don't know, okay? Watch another YouTuber. I'm talking strictly the United States of America, okay, honey? Alright, so once you pass that, once you're not shady, once you have history of work, then they're going to do a credit report check, okay? And they want to make sure you have no bankruptcies in the last 7 years, most likely 10. Mine said 10, but it's usually 7. And if so, between 7, then you explain if it's within 7 years the bankruptcy, okay? And or foreclosure, okay? And if you've had 7+ years to 10 years to beyond, they might ask, they might not even question it, okay? So your credit report history will show, first and foremost, in the request, okay? This usually actually comes even before the background check. They're gonna look into your credit, like, immediately, like, just to make sure you're not lying about your income. And they're gonna see other loans you have on that credit history, and they're gonna use that to determine eligibility for financing, all right? So this is with everything, even if you pulled out a $10 loan, like, I'm just saying, okay? That's with everything with the bank. And I'm even gonna go into that, like pulling out a loan from a bank. You want to be careful about that, okay? It's harder. It's a lot harder. Big mistake for many people, which is why a lot of young people, it's very disappointing. They think they have to go through a bank to get a mortgage. It's not true, and they get denied time and time again. You can make it by going through a private lender, and they'll have like some cheesy name like Victoria's Homes or something like that, and they are a multi-million-dollar company. They just build home after home after home, and they give out mortgages easier than they do banks, okay? I went to a bank one time. They couldn't even give me, you know what, I won't even get into it. Banks are just strict, okay? They want to make sure you don't have a bad credit report in the last 2 years, okay? And if so, they're gonna dig, they're gonna ask. It doesn't mean all hope is gone, but if you're self-employed, that probably means all hope is gone. It's very hard if you're self-employed. So I'm gonna get into that now. Self-employed versus working for someone. They're gonna check if your taxes are paid off. If you're self-employed, if you owe $1, they probably won't even wink an eye at you. You gotta make sure you totally paid off all your taxes. In my case, they double, triple, quadruple check that I had paid my tax in full, and they needed a stamp proof receipt. Like, I had to physically go to some federal office to make sure, like, I paid it, and there's the proof, and there's the cashier's check on closing day. Like, you could be ready for closing, and they'll notify you like last minute. Like, it'll be like a day before closing, and they could say, okay, now we're ready to close. Like, you may not even be approved to close until the day of closing. And this has happened to people, and it's delayed week and week and week because you missed something, you missed a deadline, you weren't on time, or they suddenly saw that alarm in your bank, like, oh, made a transaction for $5,000 and they're wondering why you did that, and all of a sudden you don't have money, or maybe someone transferred $5,000 in and it's suspicious activity and the alarm goes off and suddenly closing is delayed because you made a last minute mistake. So it's going to be very, very tense the last 2-3 months, but most tense is the last 30 days of closing. It's like you won't even be able to sleep. Like, guys, I'm telling you, there was a day I just slept like 3 days in a row, like 2-3 hours each night. Like, I couldn't sleep. All I could do was work to keep my mind off the fact that, am I going to be approved for closing? Is closing day going to happen on this day? Am I okay with the bank? Am I all right with the loan offers? Am I all right with the mark shop? Like, it's torture. You're going to be doing phone call after phone call. I'm sorry, that's not relaxing anymore, but you're going to be doing email after email. You're going to, you're just going to be writing a lot of things. You're going to be doing a lot of calculating. You're going to be paranoid, especially if you barely made it, like I did on closing. Many people go through this. They only have but a few dollars left in their account after all the bills the month and closing. It's okay, but after the main stress and saving some few coins for yourself, things will get better. It always gets better, but just be wise with your money, and I'm going to go into that further soon. I just want to clear the main key point here. So, if you're self-employed, they're going to be asking you for bunch of proof, bunch of receipts, bunch of your own pay stubs. You probably have to send in, like, I remember just getting approved for a simple loan. I sent in 11 different forms of verification and proof. Like, what is this car payment here? Or where is your pay stub? Like, things like 11 different forms. Which is normal. I mean, like, that's not any more or less than anyone else. Like, that sounds pretty much about right. So, you can imagine if you're self-employed applying for a home, how many different forms of verification I had to send in. I think at least 20. So, you're going to have to keep that in mind. It's going to be a headache. You're going to maybe have to take some time off your own work, set time for yourself aside to do business. And keep in mind those tax season, pay those taxes. Mine happened to be at the closing at the same time tax season was. So you can imagine the hell I encountered. I think that's why some of you said I looked really stressed and tired at the beginning of 2018. It was, trust me, it was. And on top of that, to lose a friend at the same time. Yeah, that was a horrible year. Anyway, good and bad. Anyway, that's probably why the eye doctor said I almost went blind. Long story. Don't even ask me about that. Okay, so don't feel sorry for me either, honey. Alright, so age and experience. It's my fault. I stress myself too much and worry too much. I'm a Virgo. I will always worry. Okay, I'll shut up. Now, if you work for someone, it's going to be a lot easier. You're going to only usually show the average things they ask for, like pay stubs and work experience, history, whatever. I don't know if they call into your work. I doubt that. It's not that extreme. They might in 20 years if the economy go down again. But anyway, recession. But it's not going to be nearly as much as if you're self-employed. Self-employment is because you're working and depending on yourself. So you're paying yourself, right? Mostly. So it's up to you to make that penny. So they have to put more faith and trust in you. They can put faith and trust in Sears Co., but can they put faith and trust in you? So that's why it's a lot harder for self-employed individuals to get a house, especially if you're young, probably. And I'll go into that next. Age and experience, time working, and time buying. So they need to see at least 2 years of work history to be able to depend and trust on you as a loan homeowner. Just like they need 2 years of rental history. So 2 is the magic number for most things, okay? Besides, if you went through foreclosure or bankruptcy, it's longer. Think 7+. Okay? Now, don't lose hope if you had a foreclosure 6.5 years ago, okay? It doesn't hurt to try, okay? Even the whole credit report thing that is like about 2 years. Like, they want to see 2 years went by from the bad report, and they'll be more easygoing on you, okay? So, age is one of those things that's discriminatory, like if you're gay or lesbian, and they don't look at that usually. They don't look and say, like, oh my god, this 21-year-old, what's he gonna do buying a house now? I don't care if he makes 10 grand a week. He don't look ready. No, honey, you have the paper, we'll go through you. But you need to be between at least 18 and 21 years old, depending on which industry you go through, which bank, I think, and whatever not. But yes, the younger you are, they may ask you more questions. They may. I don't know. I really don't know. My case, I was 23, so one of the things that I found very unusual, I don't know, it's because if I was under 25, like 25 is the key mark for trust in terms of like getting a rental car for cheaper, or I don't know, certain insurances being reduced, like your car insurance. But for me, what I find the strangest, I had to write a almost like essay format paragraph, like a big, thick, half a paper paragraph of why I need this house. I don't know if that was a self-employed thing, but I wrote something really good and juicy. If only I could find it. I should have read it out loud, but it was something along the lines of, it'll provide me more, if this helps any of you, write this down, it'll provide me more storage space for my video equipment, or whatever you do. Obviously, fill in the blank. It will give me opportunity to thrive and grow and learn as an individual, with more experience, something along the lines of more experience with, the process of buying a home, mortgaging, whatever, like giving me adult responsibilities over renting in an apartment, which is, now that I think about it, 100 times easier. And I'll explain why soon, again. But something like, it will give me more room to film out of. I can work from home in peace and quiet and privacy that I need, because something like, because I had explained to them, like, the sound bothers my job, so I need quiet. You can even maybe mention space for my dog. I don't think I went into that much. I didn't want to overdo it, but sympathy, sympathy, sympathy. Make them emotion. Hit the emotion mark, okay? So this part, you can stray away from the business and you can put emotion in it. You don't have to overthink it either. They just need a simple letter. That's all. The more you can convince them, probably the better. And I thought this was an age thing, so maybe. Who knows? If someone's a realtor, a loan officer watching, works in a bank, tell me what that was about. Okay. Experience / time buying. So your experience in purchasing property definitely will help in your case. They will put more faith and trust in you and ask you less questions, basically. So that's what I meant by all that. Now, the next key point and the last one in terms of approval, and this is all just approval alone, in the last half hour I've been yapping, is you need to make 3 times in income every month the amount of your mortgage. Sometimes 2.5, some states. I don't think it goes at 2. I don't think anymore. Maybe used to, but if you're in an apartment, they can look at bare minimum 2 to 3, sometimes 3.5. But rarely, like even with the home, 3.5 is a stretch. So it's between 2.5 and most likely 3. So if your mortgage is $1,200, how much do you need to make? Let's do the math. That's right, $3,600 a month, clean, and I'm talking net. Okay. They will look at gross. They will consider gross, but I'm saying net for your security and safety because there's a ton of bills you have to consider when buying a home. And again, I will go into that. I'm just talking strictly right now about the approval process, okay? So once you are all done with that, okay? If they say no, or they usually won't say no. If they say no completely, you're like screwed. You need to go somewhere else. And you're double screwed actually, because even if you go somewhere else, they already look through your credit history and your report, and they're going to say, you know, the number lowers on your report, so they're going to be like, that's less of a chance for you to get approved, right? Because your number just dropped because someone checked it, right? Checked your file. Make sure you check your number yourself for free, and do those websites that don't affect your credit history for checking. Like, if you have it through a bank, like a certain bank will give you your number, but there's 3 different kinds of numbers. I think your FICO score, and then the number the bank shows, I think, and then the number lenders use, like some FICO or something else. I don't know if calling in, getting a mail, piece of paper, or email about your number will do you justice, because those usually drop your score. That was the mistake I made in the beginning as a renter in an apartment. I kept checking the dang score and it kept going down, so be mindful of that, especially before purchasing a car. Like, you will need a car before a home, most likely, so make sure you get that on fleek as well. And I'll go into that as well. So take notes, you know, pause, go back to certain key points I said, you know. If they say maybe no, as in the loan officer tells you, okay, you made $40,000, we need you to make at least $55,000. So that extra $15,000 someone has to make on your behalf and sign on your behalf as if they co-own the home with you, or co-sign. I'm not sure of the two, if there's such a thing as co-signing a home, but for sure co-buying. So if you can get a co-buyer for the home, even better, and thus they will be able to approve you and their income combined, which will be most likely more than enough. Like, if you make $30,000 and they make $35,000, that's $65,000, and they need $60,000 for approval. So then they'll say, okay, we'll give you the go. Something like that. Again, it's a whole algorithm, a whole calculation, but they will also consider, I think, actually, now that I think about it, their bills as well. They will do a background check for the co-buyer as well. Let me turn this light off. You know, my eyes always hurt from this light. I don't like that. There we go. There's this one light here that my eyes always hurt. I have to throw it in the garbage. Anyway, it runs on battery. It's a piece of crud. So, finally, after all that, when the loan officer gives you the go, you'll be able to consider other things. And I'm going to go over that with you right now. Okay, so when in terms of the whole approval for 3 times the income or whatever, they will also look at if this is going to be your primary residence or if you're renting it to people. If you're renting it to people, easier chance to get approved. But if it's your second or more home, or if it's your primary, they're going to look at that. So primary, they're going to dig in on your history and all that I just mentioned. But if it's your second or third home, they're going to consider your first home, your second home, whatever, another loan, right? Especially if you're loaning it. If you paid it in full, they're just going to look at how much tax you owe, right? And if you're obviously renting it to people, that will be more lenient on you. I don't know the rules for that. I just thought I'd bring it up, maybe give you an idea. Okay, so at closing, you will need to hire an attorney. Okay, it's optional, but I highly recommend it because of legal terminology. And you're signing important documents that will affect the next 15 to 30 years of your life. So hire an attorney. Okay? If the home is brand new, you need an inspector on site before closing day. And it can be even on the day of closing. You can get it inspected and then head on out to closing. Especially if it's far. If you're coming from across states, like, you probably need to go once and get it done right. Make sure they get inspected for radon gas, especially if you're in Florida. That's a deadly, invisible gas, okay? Carbon dioxide is a whole other thing that you can get that with a security system, but radon is a lot of times undetectable with most devices. If it's a resale home, meaning the home was previously owned by someone else, it's not brand new, then you will definitely 1,000,000% need an inspector and an attorney, okay, at closing. If it's brand new, you don't even need an attorney or an inspector. You still want to get one in case the building company kind of screwed you over, but not necessary. I mean, you already have so many thousands of dollars to pay at closing. Why pay an extra $600 for all of that trouble, you know? Usually the building company will get someone there to inspect on your behalf and make sure everything's okay, reassure you. You can put faith and trust in them. It should be fine. But if you're paranoid, get legal people on board, dear God. Okay, so now I'm talking about FHA versus conventional. This was an option I had for this new home. This was a newly constructed from the ground up home I just bought, okay? So they said, we're going to go with you for FHA loan or conventional, okay? And they gave you that idea because if you kind of just are barely going to make it, they kind of give that option on board for you. So I went with the simpler one. Whatever was the least necessary payment I had to make for closing, whatever, I went with that, okay? The easy way. The other way would have cost me double. So yeah, yikes. So it can mean a difference between, like I said, 10 to 20,000 for you, depending if you buy, let's say, 200 and up. All right, meaning $200,000 and up. So I don't know too much about it, but there's definitely something you want to ask the real estate agent or the front desk lady at that home builder place. You want to ask about FHA over conventional. They'll print out papers for you, which is better. This is going to be your interest rate if you go with this. This is going to be your interest rate if you go with that. This is plan A, this is plan B, this is your closing cost here, this is your closing cost here. They're going to go over everything, okay? Obviously, probably long term it'd be better if you did the one that's more complex, but that's if you can afford it. Because in a sense, you wouldn't owe as much. I mean, it's kind of a slight difference. It's really stupid. I don't know why they even do that, but anyway. So ask about FHA or conventional, okay? If you're a member of military or army, there is a huge discount for you or veterans, okay? And I'm sure I can imagine if there's like a senior citizen center of homes that you buy, that's another thing. Buying homes in a community is different from buying homes from a private lender, okay? Like Victoria's Homes, I made something up. In a community, you're probably going to have association fees because there's probably going to be a pool or a park or something, trash pickup, gardening, lawn care service, and sidewalk cleanup, paint jobs on the sidewalk, or building or repairing roads on the curb, or, you know, all that stuff, planting, and general safekeeping, police monitoring the area. Deed restricted communities may have association fees. This one does not, thank God. But it's up to you to upkeep your association. Like, I had to actually physically go pick up trash on the side of the street to make sure, like, okay, nobody was doing it. They do that anyway. There's people here in this association meetings that they go around and pick up the trash, so you don't need to. Thank God there's no association fee. But keep that in mind. The association fee may be $300 to $500 a month. No, did I say oh my gosh. Maybe, yeah, some places. So keep that in mind, okay? But yeah, if you're 55 plus, maybe 65 plus, there may be special discounts for you in certain communities. But if you buy through a private lender, it's going to be, I think, cheaper on your end. But they can be risky because there's some companies that are shady. They don't answer the phone. They don't want to help you if you have some damage to your house. Make sure you get a good, reliable homeowner insurance and all that, and I'll go into that soon. But yeah, definitely consider community versus private, and which would be pros and cons. Weigh the pros and cons. I'm not saying that one is better than the other. I'm just giving you my honest opinion. So anyway, closing costs. They are higher in some states, okay, and some places, meaning more down payment for you, okay? So keep that in mind. In Florida, thank God, is super, super cheap. You could easily, that 10,000, 20,000 thing I just said, in some state, like, I don't know, Maryland, that could easily be 20 to 30K and up. Like, you may have to make 20,000 bare scraping nails minimum. So keep it in mind. Research. Ask questions. Even if you're not ready to own a home yet, not ready for the commitment, you can always physically go. Ask questions. Ask a realtor to show you around. You can hire unlimited amount of realtors. You know, they're eager to make some dough. So if they can get a sale from you, they'd be glad. There's chocolate on my teeth. Sorry, y'all. Had to take a break. The memory card was loop-de-doop. It's always about the memory card. So anyway, you can go to open houses, ask questions there. They'll tell you right on the spot. They know it, they've been through it, etc. There's usually a realtor there. And someone else to, like, assistant, like, guide you, like, give you cookies, I don't know, tour the house, something like that. Just know who you're talking to. Get their business card, get their phone number, their name. Okay. Record keeping. And if you like them, maybe you go through them. And it helps to have a family member or friend who's a broker or real estate agent as well. So, even loan officer. Even better, the bank. Okay. So anyway, that was cheesy and cringy. Keep all that in mind. So I'm going to talk about the negative side of owning a home and the side where you may potentially lose the home, and thing to keep in mind in the back of your head. There is a approximately 3-month time range where if you miss payments of mortgage, and it's usually 60 days nowadays, but at most they can give you up to 90 days to not make a payment, okay? They'll send you a note, sometimes at your door, okay? If you go beyond 90 days, for sure they will send you a foreclosure notice. And especially if you don't work with the lender to make payments after you get your first note, then they'll send you the foreclosure notice. And that's where it's like you have nearly no hope left. You just need to make all the payments you've missed, or even more, pay off the house, I don't know, or they'll foreclose you because they no longer can put trust in you, and they would rather another lender / buyer over you. So that's where you don't want to go. Like, you always have a grace period. I think 17 days, 15, 17, if I'm not mistaken. About half a month where you can be late, and instead of paying on the 1st, you can maybe pay on the 10th, example. Like, this government shutdown, those people, they probably had to call and say, I'm gonna pay a little bit later if it's okay, excuse me, etc. It's okay up to the 60 days. But when you go beyond the 60 days, you're stretching it with the banks. Alright. And I'm talking, this is nowadays, like, this wasn't before, okay? Before, you can go, dear God, probably 2 years, who knows, 6 months even. There are certain banks that are easier to receive a loan over others. That's why I say go with private ones, okay? Banks are tough. keep in mind the increased property tax on your home in some states/areas, okay? Always do your research and ask. It's gonna take several tries before you find your home. Heck, I didn't even write this down, but when you go looking for a home, look at least five different houses, okay? For me, it only took 5. The 5th try was the lucky one, okay? There were, I think, 3 resales and then 2 newly built. And this one just happened to be the perfect circumstance. But go for 10. Look for at least 10 homes. At least, dear God, at least. Okay? You never know where the best option is. And harass your realtor. Harass everyone, okay? Just not the loan people. You don't want to bother with that. You want to harass the people who are eager to make money from you. Okay, the loan officer, they can always find someone, but the real estates and the lady working there, that are eager to please the boss or whatever, they're the vultures in the industry, so they're the ones that are looking to make a dime. So ask questions. That's why they're there, okay? But treat them as human beings too. Be nice. That came across too businessy. I'm sorry. When it comes to business, I'm cold. Alright, so verification was tougher 10 plus years ago, okay? I mean, I'm sorry. See, I'm reading my notes here and I'm getting my words mixed up. Verification now is tougher than 10 years ago. Keep that in mind. Your mama bought a home 15 years ago, but her process was a ton easier than now, okay? They even had this thing under Obama. It was like leniency on homes. Like, you could get even a reduced rate or something. Like, that ain't no more, honey, so you gotta pay your bills, honey, okay? You can get like a refinancing, that's fine, that will, however, more increase your interest rate, and meaning you have to, all of a sudden your mortgage went from 30 years to 40, 35, I don't know, because you decide to make lower monthly payments because all of a sudden you got a different income job, per se. So there's so many options for you still. There's always hope, okay? For personal loans, if all of a sudden you gave away all your money and you're down to $12 in the bank account and your baby got sick and there's $100, $200 hospital medical bill for a checkup and you don't have that, you can pull out a personal loan because you were approved for $200,000. You think they're not going to approve you for $200? I mean, you could get $200 in a simple credit card. Anyone will give that to you. A student will get a credit card with $200 in it. But I'm saying for more, like, let's say, emergency, thousands of dollars, or home expense you needed that unexpected, or maybe that you want. My mistake was going to a bank. Oh, those banks. I had the blessing and lucky fortune to purchase the land next door to my home. Because one day we just got a miracle knock on our door from some guy at some church. And they were selling the property right next door. It's like literally a week after I closed and got the house. Like, it was just like a miracle. He was like, I thought I'd just ask out of curiosity, do you want to get the land? I was like, oh my God, yes. Because he was going around knocking doors asking people. So I needed a loan. I had put $600 left in my bank account after I closed. I gave away almost, I don't even remember how much anymore. It was a lot. Just for closing, for taxes, for expenses. I had to buy all this stuff for the home. It was just ridiculous. So anyway, so I was like, okay, I can only afford the down payment, because you also have to give a down payment if you buy land, and you have to think about paying taxes for land too. Keep that in mind. All right. And so, also, if you want to demolish the trees, the plants, whatever, that costs $10,000 easily per 10,000 square feet, approximately. Anyway, I'm getting to my point. You also gotta make sure that place has water, sewer, like otherwise you are so, no one's gonna buy it from you. Also keep in mind the rates of inflation and how much they're selling for on the market. Okay, anyway, compare and contrast, do your research. So I got this for a steal. I got this for 3 times less than what it's worth. I even got the property evaluated, and it, literally, it's so much less. I got it for. So everyone was surprised at the office. They were like, "Oh, at the agency, title agency," and they were like, "Oh, you're so young. Oh, are you investing?" I was like, "No, I just want this to keep a neighbor away, so they don't build directly next to me. And I don't want the noise because I film videos and stuff. So, and it's obviously a good investment. So I'm getting to my point here. I needed that personal loan, so I went to a bank, and they denied me. I won't disclose the amount, but it was really not that much. So I was surprised. Okay, they approved me for X amount, and they deny me for this, which is 1% of the home's value. 1%. I mean, I was like, what? They couldn't approve me for an extra percent. So I look like the paranoid mess I am on my credit history and all that. I do research, and I see I had a high amount of utilization. And you also want to check that in your report, percent utilization, okay? And you want to research how to make your credit score go up. You want to research certain things you're doing wrong, like too many open accounts. That was my problem. Too many transactions in the last blah, blah, blah. Then I realized, no wonder my score went plummeting down because I just bought a home. It's going to take 6 months for the score to go back up even just a point after buying a home. Keep that in mind. Don't pull out too many loans. I did that after getting this home because I had so much more than I anticipated before purchasing the home. I just wanted the home. I just want to get it over with, but then I understood, but I didn't fully understand the gravity of the situation. So anyway, so I went through the bank, got denied. So she kind of hinted me on the phone. She was like, go through LendingTree. So ever since then, I recommend everyone LendingTree. Go to lendingtree.com. Okay, this is not sponsored. I was going to say purchase with my own money. Yeah, I bought LendingTree. I'm rich now. No, I'm kidding. But go through LendingTree. They are good at giving a loan, okay? I highly recommend them. I'm sure there's other companies like that, but they're the main base. They're a good one, okay, for easier approval than a bank. LendingTree. They approved me instantly, and they even were like, here, we'll give you more. You're eligible for more. Trust me. Go through that kind of private, online, trustworthy, do your research over a bank, okay? Always think of those over, I'm not saying don't go to a bank, but why bother going through the bank and they deny you, and then all of a sudden your score drops, and then you're trying again and your score drops, why go from bank to bank? Where there's certain banks that are easier over others. Keep that in mind. Ask questions, ask family, ask friends, look online, forums and stuff, but don't trust everything people say online either, because that was a mistake I made too. Moving on. Also, certain loan officers will be more lenient and easygoing than others. So thankfully, the private loaning building company had a good loan officer they recommended on site. That was quite pleasant to work with. Okay, they're still going to be cold and professional with you, but they're some of them are way better than others, which will flat out tell you no if you don't make even a certain amount of money. Like this one, I mentioned the income, and they were like, okay, they knew right away to tell me yes or no, but then they went into further explanation as to why they said no. So it makes you feel not only human, but give you hope that you would get approved. So they can be positive, but they can also be realistic. So keep that in mind. Don't think just because the officer said you have a great chance, that means you will for sure. They don't know until the bank says so. Okay, keep that in mind. Now that's everything in terms of before. Now this is after you move in and get the home, and the month-to-month expenses that will not stop. Okay, I probably wrote down 20 things at least. Told you this was going to be a long one. Feel free to just pause the video, like I said, honey, get a snack, take a bathroom break, intermission time. You know, no one's stopping you from doing that. This is going to be juicy, okay? So, one of the first things I wrote down was flood insurance, hurricane damage insurance, etc. Because this is one of the things people least think about. And this is something I least think about to this day. Like, oh my god, come tax season, I have to pay for the flood insurance as well. So that's one of those things that I think goes in your home mortgage. If not, then it will have to be paid in full separately at the end of each year term, okay, of the mortgage. Since you closed like 1 year, full year, like if you closed in April, then yeah, until the next April, you would owe it, I think. Maybe they go by year, depending on who you go. Do research on different rates, okay? Some company, I'll say Red Paint Company, is going to offer you $500 full package, but they're only going to offer up to $150K in coverage, but your home is worth $220K. And then Green Paint will offer you for $750 flood, but they will cover up to $300K. They will even add in something else. I don't even know. You know, compare and contrast, just like you compare and contrast different homes when you do your research, okay? Look at the area you're in. If you're in Hawaii, get that volcano insurance, that tsunami insurance, whatever it's called. Even if it's expensive, look what happened in Kilauea, in Leilani Estates. Florida had to get hurricane coverage, okay? It's an extra expense. Flood insurance, faux show. I'm in a pretty much medium to high risk zone. Homeowners insurance. This will most definitely be included in your mortgage payment, the homeowner insurance. I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. I really don't know. Like, actually, this is one of the things I need to look into. Is that flood insurance in that home? Because maybe I gotta actually have to actually pay that soon, unless it's in the mortgage. I gotta look into that. Emergency expenses. Okay, I was gonna say something else about homeowner insurance, but yeah, you definitely want to have that. Like, they won't even give you the house without that, I think. And in this case, they didn't want to give it unless you had flood as well. Like, you need flood. At first, I was like, my home's never gonna flood, but they were like, no, you need flood. I was like, okay. So, emergency expenses, this is another thing. You don't know what will come up. You gotta have a rainy day fund, okay? They say you should keep like 6 to 9 months of living in savings. Like, that should be your goal. And you should have like up to 1 to 3 months of expenses in your checking. Like, you shouldn't keep all your money in your checking. I don't know about that. You know, it's different for everyone. And as long as you have use your card, and like your debit card has credit everywhere you go, you never enter your PIN, and you use the chip thing. Nowadays the chip protects you, and even at the gas pumps, like, you go inside and pay, you know, or you just enter the zip code, you should be good. Pay with a credit card as well, you should be fine. They say you should pay your expenses with the credit card, and the checking should just be like, just to pay the credit card every month. Like, you shouldn't keep everything in the checking, and you should have the rest in saving. That I don't agree with, because most of America runs on checkings too. Saving, if you pull out of a saving, all of a sudden they ask questions. Why are you pulling out $5,000? Why are you pulling out $10,000? And you have to pay taxes anyway. So it's like, I rather keep it in checking, you know, or saving. And then the saving, people have it, but what's the point? Like, you'd be tempted to pull it out anyway, you know. That's why I think it's better to budget monthly and know your bills, and then don't put it on a credit card, because then all of a sudden, like, you owe interest on the credit card, so now all of a sudden you owe interest on your bills. Like, how silly is that, you know? So I don't know, different things work for different people, but that's just my honest opinion. So plan for emergency, okay? All of a sudden a tooth popped out, or all of a sudden, oh God forbid, health insurance definitely helps. If you don't have it, just stay safe. Okay, stay safe. Why would you go for a run if you don't want to risk breaking your leg? I don't know, like, it sounds ridiculous, but you have to think of these things, because all of a sudden you could risk losing your home all over one stupid small incident and something you didn't see coming or plan for. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Insure all of your appliances, okay? Fridge, I don't know, dishwasher, sinks. Usually the homeowner's insurance will cover a lot of these things, like your appliances or damage to the walls or something that hurricane caused. This home came with hurricane shutters. We didn't have to pay for extra for that. And the installation. So that's actually a smart home as well, and I'll go into that soon with the pest control. There's a thing like holes in the walls to they spray in, and it goes in the walls. And so keep that in mind. Ask questions when you research and look for a home, and go on site and physically visit the home, because it always looks different than online on the pictures. The pictures are just trying to get you to buy, okay? But insure everything you can, okay? Because all of a sudden your fridge breaks, you're done for, okay? And you need $3,000. Yeah. Pest control and termite control / smart home. So yeah, get you a good pest control and termite prevention, okay? With a warranty that will prevent up to, let's say, $1 million worth of damage to your home. Because those termites, man, you know, they go after that wood like nobody's business, especially in the heat and the tropical environments. So keep that in mind. It could be anywhere, even in Wisconsin. I mean, just keep it in mind. Keep it in the back of your head, because knock on wood, those little pests that you cannot prevent do damage like nobody will cover on your back, and you just lost a beautiful home because you decided not to pay a bit extra every month. So keep it in mind. Always keep it in the back of your head. It's not mandatory, but keep it in mind. That's all this video is for. Write it down if you need to be, okay? And budget. Pest control is more if things bother you, like spiders. Termite is more important. Mortgage, obviously, keep in mind the mortgage payments. Credit cards, watch out to overspend your ability, okay, to save. Credit cards, man. Even keep in mind those credit cards that have that extra monthly payment for insurance purposes. Sometimes you don't need it, okay? If you're healthy, if you don't feel like you're gonna die soon, that's mostly just to cover if accidental death, dismemberment, and then it gives you money on your behalf to someone that's trustworthy, like a will. Or if you all of a sudden are falling ill or out of work, that credit insurance covers, so it pays your card off, okay? For self-employed individuals, I mean, you really barely, you don't need it, okay? Furniture, obviously you're moving into a new home. Even if it's not new, it's a new place, right? So you may want new furniture. Make sure you are capable of pulling out a furniture loan. There's plenty of cards like Valley City or Synchrony Bank that will give you like actual furniture cards, okay, to pay off monthly, and they're pretty lenient still. Anything under $500, they'll just give it to you off the bat, but over that, it's like pulling out a loan all over again. They'll go over the credit report and everything. Electric bill, keep in mind the higher expense. All of a sudden you're moving from a tiny studio apartment to a 3,000 square foot home, and now the air and heat and more lights cost you more electricity, okay? Some places run heat on gas instead of electric, so keep that in mind as well. And ask those questions come when you are looking for a home. Don't ask these questions on closing, because they'll be looking at you like, okay? Obviously more lights in the home, more space to blow air and heat for warming the home or cooling the home, so more money. Keep it in mind. your electric bill probably will double. Triple. Water softener. This is the thing that came as a slap to my face. I had already pulled out, I'm just saying this as an expression, 101 loans, and all of a sudden I'm slapped with a $3,600 water softener bill that I didn't see coming because I moved into the home. I forgot to ask one of the most important things, and that is the water quality. So Culligan comes over and gives me an estimate, and they say, you need this thing, like, you know, because beforehand we were having problems with like a pink film forming around the top in the sink and from the water, and that was because there was a bacterium in the water that was causing over time anything it touches to turn pink. As weird as that sounds, it's like a bacteria forming from the microbes or whatever the hell. So that's in Florida, right? Everything happens in Florida regardless. So yeah, I got the water softener to not only soften our skin while taking showers and washing our hands, but also to prevent this nasty pink film that smells a little funny. So that helped. It took about a month. Expect your water softener to work after a month. It never works right away. They're gonna have to go through a whole bag of Morton salt before it even functions probably. But anyway, so they said you can either rent it or own it. So I thought, okay, I'm owning and thinking of owning this home long term. So I decided to buy it, and that was another loan I had to pull out. And the guy said 3 years. Keep in mind, he's not a bank. He doesn't know everything, so he's just a sales clerk. He promised me at $36 a month. That's including 1 year of insurance protection and 1 year of someone coming on site to fill the salt themselves. Okay? Once a month. You gotta replace the Morton salt once a month. You know, those big yellow bags with blue text at Home Depot or Aaron's or whatever, Lowe's. So I come to look on my credit report. 11 years. I wanted to, like, I was so mad that he lied to me. So keep in mind, ask the right people, as I said in the beginning. You have to be smart with these people, okay? You're buying a home, you're not buying a wallet, okay? So, heck, it'd even be good to buy a smart wallet. Keep them bills safe. Alright, so, keep everything in mind. Think of 10 rational decisions before making one. Always remember that, okay? So that's something else. Water softener. I know you may think like it's bougie, it's extra, whatever. It's a big home. We needed it. There's 4 people living here, so it's just a must. In Florida's case. Thanks, Florida. Thanks. Better for drinking as well, if you have a water softener. But still don't drink it. I would still use a Brita filter or something. Alright, so okay, next is the water bill. Speaking of water, make sure you don't leave a hose left behind that's turned on. I did that one day. My God, my bill went up $80. And sprinkler systems, make sure they are on 2 to 3 times a week at most. Otherwise, your bill is going to be $300. I came here, my bill was $330 one month. I was like, kill me now, Lord, kill me. So keep in mind, okay? And we don't even own a pool yet. It's like, can you imagine with a pool? Yeah, keep that in mind. And fairly, like if you are roommates with someone in the home, like make sure you sign the proper legal documents that they're gonna have to pay you on time, and if not, there's certain rules to meet for withdrawing them from your home. Make sure to look up squatter laws, because if they stay in your home 30 plus days, there's some areas, some states where all of a sudden they can stay in your home and you have to go through lawyer things. Oh, keep that in mind. Oh, knock on wood. Oh, you have to trust who you bring in your home. Anyway, so split the bill, split the water bill, split the cable bill. If you don't watch TV, that bill is theirs. Why should it be your bill? What is that sound? I keep hearing vibrating. Anyway, it's probably God telling me, shut up, Tony, end this video. What is that sound? Seriously. Guys, I've been pre-recording so much lately, so my memory cards keep losing memory. I need to make this quick and stop rambling. Okay, so the next thing is car and your insurance. Obviously, you need to think about more gas for more distance, especially if you now all of a sudden live farther from the highway, because most decent homes probably that are newly built are in an undeveloped area, so that means more distance, you know what I mean? So more mileage to your car means more car damage, meaning more repair money, so you have to think of the cycle. If you lease or loan the car, think about trading, and if it's going to be worth it to trade at certain times. Obviously, the longer you keep the car, the more better for you. You don't have to pay so much out of pocket. But also, a recent mistake I made was the last car, I gave too much of a down payment without realizing I didn't need to make much of a down payment at all. So keep in mind, I know that more down payment means reducing your monthly rate, but sometimes it's not worth it. Sometimes it's just better to give less and more in the long term for you saving. Okay, so if you don't have a car, fine, Uber, Lyft, it would end up even saving you money to do that, honestly, because anyway, you're going to spend $300-400 a month on the car. Like, you pay the driver and the tip. If you don't go out that much, especially at all, it's going to be just fine for you if you just go to the grocery store. Alright, so property tax, land and escrow, and interest rates. Make sure you apply for a tax deduction annually. There's a big corporation company that will do this for you. You need to send in all sorts of documentations and receipts and proof, whatever you need to get approved for a tax deduction, which will then reduce your mortgage because the tax is included in your mortgage typically. So keep in mind how much you will owe annually for property tax, and keep Googling how much it went up every year or few months, okay? And see how much you will have to end up owing long term, okay? Because of, now I remember, I think I went through FHA. They said your first 2 years mortgage will be a couple $100 cheaper. After the 2 years, it will go up about $200. That's why that was the downside. Okay, now I remember. So there's always a good and bad. So anyway, I'm gonna make this quick. So again, keep in mind land, same thing, property tax. Evaluate your escrow, how much you'll have left over after selling your house. Escrow will go up and down with the property tax every year. Okay, it's like a stock market. And the evaluation of your home overall. If you suddenly buy a pool, then the value goes way up. Interest rates. Make sure you are on a fixed rate before closing, that you secure a certain percent. Okay? I thankfully managed to secure a low percent. Now it's too late, it went way up, and I'm lucky to have got it like last minute before the spring came creeping in. Alright, so I would say around winter time or fall is a good time to buy. Not summer, because it's right after the spring when it goes shooting way up, and definitely not last minute at spring, because everyone's doing it last minute and your chances decrease. Okay, so security system. All of a sudden you're a homeowner. You don't have the rental insurance that apartments do, which covers if someone breaks in. So it's on you. So you need a security system that will protect you, cover you, pay you for any lost damage or damages, and detect carbon monoxide in your home as well. Okay? And there are great deals with that. They'll go over that. You just need to keep in mind also the down payment I had to make. Also, I didn't expect this expense. Another $600 of equipment I had to pay for monoxide detector, and I had to put like one alarm in every home and door in the house, and there ended up being like 20 of them. So I was like, even more. It was just so much. It was like, so you need to keep that in mind, okay? one good thing you can put on a credit card, you know, because it's like one of those unexpected things. And not those like necessary things, you know, knock on wood, the odds of that even happening. Make sure to arm the house. Make sure you don't arm it and then you come home and forget. Like, that can be a warning, and you usually have like 5 warnings or whatever. Landscaping fees, okay? Yeah, all of a sudden have a huge lawn and you don't want to mow it, fine, pay someone to do that every month. Internet. Think about this, because in this area, the internet is not the best, so think about where you're moving. If you depend on your business for internet speed, then you need a faster internet. So that was a huge mistake I made. Was I asked about the internet, they promised me certain speeds in internet. I was talking to the wrong person, honey. I talked to the realtor. You gotta talk to the internet company provider before you purchase the home, and they need to know what day your closing is so they can help you. They need to know the day of your closing to start service, to be able to see and predict if they're going to have that service for you that day. So you need to call 2 months in advance the internet, okay? At least. Phone. Obviously, have a phone bill. Maybe now you want a home phone, okay? Keep that in mind as an extra expense. School loans. That's one of those things that they don't look for necessarily in the approval, but even after approval, like, they don't care how much student loan you have, because that can always be forgiven, delayed, etc. But keep it in mind as your own expense that you may have student loans, and you're a young home buyer, maybe you're 30 and you still have to pay that music school loan, whatever. Kids, if you want kids, are you gonna have a safe future here? Is it a safe neighborhood? Are you gonna have enough to pay for diapers and bottles and baby bibs and their clothes and schooling, and think of their future? You know, there's a lot to think about. Again, I'm sorry, this may not be the most relaxing video, but at least it's a chill session. You could listen to, chew gum, write down some notes, and follow along, you know? Because there's a lot of knowledge I have that I like to give and provide to people, and I love helping people. So if this can reach out to someone and help them, then I'm so freaking happy, okay? Children, thank God that's not one of the things I want in life, so I'm not even thinking about that. But a shout out to anyone that is willing to go through that sacrifice. Kudos to you. Awesome. Amenities, like paintings on your wall, paint jobs, gardening, any extra flowers that the landscaper will not do. They'll just usually cut the grass, unless you hire a separate landscaper. Okay, a lot of money. Decor. I don't know, Christmas is around the corner, and then you need to buy gifts for everyone. There's always something. Always, always, always. This is why the average American has, and I'm talking average, like average, like median. You know that chart, the bell chart, the median average American has only $4,000 saved in their account. And I know even that's a lot, but like, I'm talking average. Like, this is compared to every American, rich and poor. 69% of people do not even have $1,000 in their account saved. 69. So think about, in reality, we all go through this experience: home buying, home owning, expenses. It is hard to save money. It is very hard. I'm so fortunate to have been able to save for this home. Can I predict what's going to happen down the line? Am I going to be able to maintain this upkeep? I don't know. None of us know. But that is living, breathing proof. That should make you feel a bit more secure and comfortable in yourself, that most Americans don't have that much saved, even for emergency days. Okay, so realistically, to buy a home, it's a sacrifice, like having kids, owning kids. Oh my God. I imagine like Brooke Candy pulling a little kid on a leash, like in her music video. Anyway, I'm so bad. But it's a sacrifice, okay? Cleaning. Maybe you want to have a housekeeper if you can afford it, or just chemicals are so expensive in themselves. Disinfecting wipes, dust wipes, sweeper, Swiffer, those things. Windex sprays, toilet cleaners. You have to think about all these things. I know it's a little bit here and there, but those little expenses add up. I didn't even write this down, but extra leisure fun expenses, Netflix, the movies, buying buying snacks in the grocery store, even if you don't really need it. You know, food in general. I can't believe I forgot to write this down. Oh my god, food. There's so much to think about. Okay? So much. But you also have to take care of yourself, so you have to, even if you have to put in a credit card, dear God, buy yourself a bath bomb and treat yourself, even if the water bill goes up through the roof, because 80 to 100 gallons per bathtub is filled each time, so that's like, that shouldn't be more than $5, I don't know, but still, think about it. I cut my baths to one time a month because I ain't about to pay $1,000 water bill, okay? Alright, so this is a little section of its own I composed in my notes, and we're almost done here, okay? I'm almost done yapping away. Didn't expect the video to go this long, but anyway, your chance of loans reduced, and think long-term commitment, 15 to 30 years. I don't know what I meant by that. I think I meant like you can also pay a little extra to your mortgage each month to pay it off faster, but also think about most mortgages are handed out into either 15-year or 30-year loans. I have never heard of a 45-year. That would be amazing if there was a 45-year one. I mean, that's like a car. Like, we have these expensive contraptions of metal that take us places. How awesome is that? And to be able to use them every month for only $300, let's say. So same with the home. You own this huge home for only a certain, only amount of month every month. Amount of money every month. Excuse me. But my mentality is it's not worth it to pay it off faster, because it's like trading cars. You can sell the house and get another one, if that makes sense, if you have the money to put the down payment for another house, you know. And sometimes you'd be surprised you find great deals. Maybe all of a sudden you don't want that lifestyle and you want a cheaper home. Fine. Now you have some more spare change to put aside for that other home and for yourself. So it's something to think about, but it would be awesome if it was 45-year, like, to own much less every month. It would be super, super, super. But 15-year, definitely your mortgage is going to go way up, probably almost double than the 30-year. It would be much faster if taxes, property taxes, and interest rates didn't exist. I'd say even escrow. You'd probably be able to pay it off in 10 years, but all those things exist for a reason. Okay. Pool. I wrote down pool. Most common thing people add on to their home when it comes to home improvement expenses. Expect to pay between $30,000 and $50,000 for a pool. Okay, with a screen, $200 monthly fees for a pool boy to come and clean it up, chemicals, etc. Upkeep, repairs if needs to be for damage. Make sure you go to a decent company, because people have had incidents where the pool caves in. Oh Lord, okay, the ground always moves, it's earthquake, whatever. Keep it in mind. Places like Florida, you need a screen. Other places, you don't need a screen. Thank God. You can just cover the pool with that blue cloth, whatever it is. Like the stuff you cover your grill with outside, the outdoor grill, for protection. But you can either put that loan amount for the builder to add it onto your home before closing, or you pull out the separate loan. It's much better deal to put it in the home for the pool rather than out, because it'll cost you out of pocket later. In the home, it'll long term be worth it more. Okay? Finally, its own section is, if you're going to sell the home, study the area, choose the realtor wisely, be smart, meaning what I said earlier, talk to the right people, and come up with 100 solutions per problem. Wait at least 3 years before selling your newly purchased home, so you can get your money back on escrow. At least some of it. You'll never fully get it back. Closing costs, man. And look up crime in your area. Oh dear goodness. Okay, that impacts the sale of a home. Have money at closing or else. I wrote that in bold. Have money at closing or else. And have spare to survive. Dear God. Never overspend your comfort. And save for tax season. If you're self-employed especially. Okay, so people who are employed, you should get refunds, so you don't have to think about that. You can plan for the refund, but if you're I'd say one last thing I even forgot to write down. If you just bought a home within the first year, I would not plan any honeymoon, any extreme vacations. Always save for emergency. Like, the first year is going to be torture for you, probably. It's going to be a lot of money. It's going to be a lot of thinking. It's going to be after the first year, when you get comfy and the bank trusts you more and loaning officers trust you more, it'll be easy. All of a sudden you can spread more, you can pull out a loan more and get more comfortable. And I'm not saying you should do that, but I'm saying as long as you keep your payments up, and any human being will become comfortable after about a year, even if they go through a hard time. So we all adapt and become acclimatized. So there's good and bad to everything. Can't have the cake and eat it too. So that's with owning a home as well. I hope this advice helped you. I'm going to stop before my memory card goes berserk again, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Please be sure to subscribe if this helped you, and hit the notification bell. Like, share, comment, playlist, favorite, follow my social medias and my crowdfunding platforms for support. Okay, this was a lot. My mouth is so dry and hoarse in my throat, and my goodness, I'm gonna go sip on a cup of chamomile tea now after all that and edit this video. Bye poopsies, I love you so much. Best of luck to new homeowners or potential home buyers, and I wish you so much good fortune and blessings your way, because I've been through it at 23, and now you can too, and there's still hope. I don't want to hear from anyone my age or younger or even older that it's hard because I'm 30, I'm 35, it's not as before, my parents made it hard for us. No, everything's possible. You can do it. If you are self-employed, you can work a job too. If you work for someone, you can become self-employed too. Always do something in the meantime, spare time. Get that extra coin, honey. Make your life happen. Women, this is reaching out to women too. Women empowerment time, feminism time, whatever it is. I'm giving you guys support because you guys can do it. You guys have so much power and ability nowadays, so you don't even realize capability, and even more so over men. So there's no discrimination anymore. You can be anyone you want to be on this earth. You can move anywhere you want to. You know, I used to research when I was desperate to get out of the house to avoid my crazy father. I used to research buying mobile homes just to stay away from him. I used to research buying a land and then slapping a mobile home on there, or building my own home, like those mini homes, you know, for super cheap. Do research. Calculate. I forgot to mention this on Google, mortgage calculators that will calculate your income versus how much you can afford. Mortgage affordability calculator. Look that up. Do your research. Listen to this video if you need to over and over again. I know it's long, but take pauses. Write the timestamps for the parts I mentioned in the notes as well, and do your research. Okay, please. And ask questions. Ask family. Ask friends. Ask who you can trust. Ask the right people. And save. Okay, if you can buy $5 wine over $8, do it. Okay, even if the taste is honestly better. Like, I bought $20 bottle of wine. It's literally like worse than the $8 one. You know what I mean? So if there's little things like go to the dollar store, you know, budget. I have never had to budget this much in my entire life than now, because I'm a homeowner and have had to set aside these responsibilities for myself. So, okay, so still be a kind, humble, giving human being, but also keep in mind these things, okay? And save yourself first, because at the end of the day, the bank ain't gonna save you if you don't make a payment, you know what I mean? So make sure to plan ahead and keep these things in projection in mind. Have a vision for yourself. What do you want your future here to be like? Maybe what do you want that wall color to be like? You know, that comes later with time. The more money you make, the more you save over time. Keep that budget, write those lists down, how much you make per month, how much you spend per month. Profit and loss calculators, do that if you're self-employed as well. Have a Microsoft Excel, okay? Buy a $10 membership for Microsoft Word and Excel. Send documents to the right people. You know, make sure you're organized. Keep your files in cabinets, and keep a safe. Dear God, keep all your important documents in a safe. That's important for homeowners as well. Passports, birth certificates, bills. Always pay your mortgage the first 2 months physically in snail mail, so that you have proof receipt come tax time. Otherwise, after that, you can do auto deduction online. And keep track of your bills.